What a wild, emotional roller coaster life has been for me here in Sweden. If you haven't seen the last video I put out, I'll put that here so that you can click on that and check it out. But I was risking getting deported from Sweden back to the United States because my employer had not filled out the proper paperwork for me to stay here and work in a quick fashion. And so I was down to the wire. I had only 4 weeks to get all that put together so that I can stay in Sweden without getting deported. Thankfully, that got worked out, and so yay, I'm legal. I don't have approval from Migrationsverket. They are the agency that takes care of that, but I am legally able to stay here while I await a decision. According to the website, maybe I'm clicking on some wrong buttons, but it's about a 14-month wait to get an answer from them. But as I said, I can work here and stay here legally in Sweden while I'm awaiting the answer. Other really interesting stuff, I am moving. So I live in Helsingborg, Sweden. I've been here for 2 years about. I came here August 2021. So I guess that puts me at about 21 months that I've lived in Sweden now. Been living here, learning the language. I've been working here since August of last year. So by the time that I end my employment with my current employer, I will have worked here for about a year. And so, yes, I am not going to be working here anymore. I got a job offer. I am moving to Malm. So, super excited about it. It's quite a bit bigger of a city. Compared to American standards, it's quite small. It's actually the same size as the city that I was born in and next to where I grew up. So, it's about a third of a million people. And I am really excited to go there. I've been kind of wanting to move there for a while anyways because there's a lot more diversity, a lot more restaurants. It's really close to Denmark, so the airport is just there. You can take the train and get to the airport within I think 22 to 27 minutes. And so yes, so I'm super excited about that, and I will be starting my job in August. I got a job as basically, I don't have my license as a nurse yet. I'm almost there, but what I have to do now is what's called a tjänstgöring, which is I guess you would say like a 3-month experience or 3-month internship. I'm not really sure how that it translates as like service doing. But basically, I'm going to work for 3 months for a diabetes department. And I'm really excited because it's a very high level type department. So there was a lot of things I wanted to do in my last job in America. I worked in diabetes there as a diabetes care education specialist. And there was a lot of cool technologies I wanted to play with and implement, but we were very limited in the United States on what we could do for our patients. But here in Sweden, because it is paid by the tax dollars, it's amazing. There's all these different types of tools that we can use, such as insulin pumps and meters that you can wear on your arm that tell you what your blood sugar is, and you can look at your cell phone, see what those numbers are. A lot of people in America are not able to get access to those because their insurance doesn't pay for it, or they don't even have insurance. So I'm looking forward to learning a whole lot, and I will definitely take you along on this journey and let you know how that goes. But yes, I'll be starting my training in August, and so I won't have the title of nurse. I'm not sure exactly what the title is going to be, because if you don't know, the title that I currently have is undersköterska, which is like an under nurse, and that title will become a protected title as of July this year. So like in a month, it's going to become a protected title. Right now, I'm grandfathered in with my current job because of my education being actually higher. More education than is required for a undersköterska. But if I want to keep that title, there is a process that I'll have to go through after July. So, not sure what we're going to do about that. We're kind of working out the logistics of it because, this is a new thing that just came out, and I'm in between jobs now and moving. So the question was, do I really need to do this if I'm probably going to get my nursing license soon? Hopefully this fall, I'll have everything done. In addition to the 3 months tjänstgöring that I'm going to have to do, I also will have to take a practicum exam. I actually took it, but I didn't really study for it because I didn't have time. They kind of said, hey, you passed your last test, your huvudsköterska kunskapsprov. There's a date here in a week. we'll put you in the slot. And I was kind of in a panic because I'm like, I want to do it and get it. I had no idea what to expect. Didn't really know how to study. I haven't been through the education system here in Sweden. So what I know is what I've taken with me in America and what I've learned here in my current role, working in home health. So what I learned from that, I was a nervous wreck. I had terrible anxiety during the exam. I didn't know how the rooms were going to look. They had two people that are sitting there looking at you and critiquing everything. It's very, very strict. It's way stricter here in Sweden to do these than it is in America. In America, when I did something similar, it was actually included in the curriculum. So I didn't have a separate exam where you go in and you do skills checkoffs, like, for example, taking a blood test or taking blood to grow in a lab and see if there's an infection, or putting in a catheter or starting an IV. Those were things that were kind of like skills that were blended into your curriculum. And so, yeah, I was very ill prepared. You go in there, there's 14 possible different scenarios they could put you in, and it's like boom, boom, boom. You got 6 random ones, and I didn't know how the rooms are going to look. The materials, a lot of the materials were like broken or had already been used by other people. And, to work in a sim lab is totally different than working with a real life patient with actual medications and things of that nature. So I think I had a panic attack with the first one because they divided the 6 up into where you had 3 different rooms, and there was 2 different things that you had to do, 2 different skills for each room, each of the 3 rooms. So the first room, I thought I was going to faint. I have a lot of anxiety issues, so that didn't really help. But I survived, and I'm going to do better next time. I'm going to be more prepared. I'll just give you one little example, and things have changed a lot. I've been a nurse for 13 years, and a lot of stuff has changed, I'm sure. I remember there were nurses that were trained before me in America, and back in their day, they would aspirate when they would give an insulin injection in the stomach. They would aspirate or draw back a little bit to make sure that they weren't in a blood vessel, and then they would push the medication in. By the time I went to schooling, they did away with that, and they said you don't need to aspirate because it's just subcutaneous. It's not like an intramuscular shot that's going deep, so they did away with that. Well, then here in Sweden, there's a lot of variation, a lot of things that are quite different from America. For example, when you give an intramuscular shot here, not only do you inject the needle and then you have to aspirate, then you have to turn it 180 degrees and then you aspirate again and then you can inject. When you give for example, when you're putting in a catheter in a man, we never use analgesia in America. It is what it is. We do put gel on, the tube to make it go in, make the catheter go in easier, but we never used. I mean, maybe that's a new thing they're doing since I left America or in the last couple of years. Like I said, things are always changing, but I was never taught to use anesthesia. We knew that there were things like that existed, but we never had them available. For example, if you put in an IV, there was a thing that you could use as a type of spray. Never saw that on the units before. I never saw anyone ever use it before. So then you come here and, they're putting analgesia in the nose to do an NG tube, and analgesia, inside your penis so that they can, put the catheter in. And so, in America we use, I don't know if they still do it now, but when I was trained, you use iodine to cleanse around the opening where the catheter is going to go in for a man or a woman, and they don't use iodine here. An exception, of course, to that in the United States is if the person has allergies. So there's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to prepare for. But the reason I'm bringing this up is I really need extra training here in Sweden to learn the Swedish way to do things so that I can pass this, not just pass the exam, but to do things here according to their way. It is the expectation that I follow what's called a vårdhandbook. It's kind of like their Bible of healthcare, and like every single procedure that you could possibly think of is laid out there, like putting in a catheter, taking vital signs, all that stuff is laid out step by step, how you're going to do it. And if you don't follow those processes that can lead to safety issues for the patient, safety issues for you. It can lead to legal problems, lots of things like that. So it's very important to learn the Swedish way. So thankfully, this new job, they are going to facilitate my training. I will be able to get some lab training at the University of Lund, where I studied Swedish. So I'm super excited about that. And I'll do this on another video. I'll put a link to a Facebook group that I found. But one of my friends that I studied Swedish with, he's from another country as well, and he put me in contact with, it's called the International Office, and they facilitate nurses and doctors that move here to Sweden to help them get jobs and learn the language and pass their exams and that sort of thing. So I'll do that on another video. This one's already getting to be kind of long. But yeah, other thing that I'm dealing with is trying to find an apartment. So if you don't know, Sweden is very difficult to find an apartment. So any of you living in Malmö, if y'all know of a good apartment that's in a decent part of town, because there are some parts of town that are a little bit more shady than others, send me a message, let me know. But hopefully I can get an apartment and move out before I start the job in the middle of August. So I've already talked to my boss here. I've been letting them know, everybody at work, that I will be moving to Malmö and starting a new job. It is, I think, going to lead to some really cool things. It's in the diabetes field, which is what I did in America, and I loved it. I love working with diabetes patients. I love the science behind it. I love the technology behind it. And I think I can definitely help a lot of people and make a difference, hopefully, if I'm given the right tools. One of the things that I was really impressed about when I was in America, we didn't have this, but here they have it in Sweden. They actually have psychologists that work in the diabetes department. And that was something that we really were fighting for in America, because 80% of diabetes management is psychological, because having diabetes is a very difficult disease, not just physically, but mentally as well. And that seems to be one of the biggest challenges of managing it. So I'm really excited about working as part of a team with doctors and with psychologists and other nurses and dietitians to be able to help people to manage their diabetes better. So super excited. Just had to let you guys know. I was like jumping up and down when I found this out. So it's been an emotional roller coaster the last 2 weeks, and a lot of good things happening though. A lot to be thankful for. So thank you so much, and feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Y'all have an awesome day.